Hi, in this video I'm going to talk to you about the input masks, validation text and validation rules that I've incorporated from my student combination database. So in the first table, in landlord, the first validation rule is with gender, and that is that it must be like either male or female. And then there's a validation text stating this to the person if they put in an incorrect entry, that it must be either male or female. And next then is in the date of birth, that the date of birth must be before the 1st of the 1st, the year 2000, and then validation text clearly stating this to the user. There's also an input mask in the mobile number of the landlord that it sets up. It must be 3 numbers for the mobile phone extension or area code, and they're put in brackets as well. Then in the property table, the first one is the year built, that it must be built before the 1st of the 5th, 2013, so it must be built of the, and then there's text saying that it must be done before this time. Also is the cost price, that the price entered must be greater than 50,000, and then there's a validation text clearly stating this to the user. Also then there is one in current value. The current value must be greater than 0, so the person cannot enter a negative value for the price of the property. Also capacity, that there must be a capacity value of more than 0, so it can house at least one person. And then the number of rooms also must be greater than 0. And the text clearly stating there as well. In rental contract, the first one is in deposit paid. And deposit paid says that validation rule is that it must be greater than or equal to 0. Also with the number of students. Number of students there must be greater than -1, so they can't put in a negative amount of lodgers in their property. And then in pay method, that it must be that the value entered must be either cash, check, or debit, and then validation text clearly stating this to the user. Then in student, first lies in gender, just covering that they must enter either male or female for the gender, and in the date of birth, that it must be before the 1st of the 1st, 2002, and the validation text clearly stating this to the user as well. And in university, the name is just set up that the first letter of the university will be always an uppercase letter. And in the telephone number, an input mask similar to before is also set up. And in the number of campus spaces, that it must be greater than -1, so there cannot be less than 0 spaces available at the college. And the total number of students then must also be greater than or equal to 0. Now to see where those work, we'll change one of them in university. We'll close this off and go to university form. So if I put in, I'll change this one here and type it in a minus figure. It tells me that the spaces must not be a negative number, so that shows that it's working. So I'll come back and just change that to what it was. And then total number of students, 0, works okay. And then -1, it tells me that it must be greater than or equal to 0 in the number of students that are there. So again, I'll just change that back to a positive number. That's the example just of some of the many rules that I have to ensure the correct data is entered throughout the database. So thank you for listening.